What is up, guys? Coop here, and today we're going to be reacting to Warbringers Jaina. So I wanted to do this a while back, but every time I seemed to upload this video I was getting demonetized. So third time is the charm, but Jaina is by far one of my favorite characters. I like her. A lot of people hate her for a lot of different reasons, but I always like her because she's a tragic based character. She's one that in the beginning, you know, she fell in love with Arthas, she fell in love with I forget his name, Kelphus, Sunstrider, and she fell in love with all these different characters. They always go to corruption. She had to kill her own father for peace, but then the Horde ended up being betraying her later on and bombing her entire city, killing a lot of the ones she loved, her apprentice and everything. And she's always been one of my favorite characters by far. So I'm really happy to see that they actually made a nice little short for her, and she's getting a lot of sort of screen time in this expansion. And one of the things that's really important that people need to realize with Jaina is she's been in almost every expansion in World of Warcraft besides Burning Crusade and I believe Warlords of Draenor was the two, well, and Legion. But like, she was a big part of Wrath of the Lich King. She helped, you know, do the march against Arthas and everything, and helped buff us up, and had her own unique story with the Lich King. And then in Cataclysm, obviously, with the bombing of Faramore, that was a huge event going on as well. And there's been a lot of little moments here and there where she's been a part of the different expansions, and I'm really curious to see where they take her story. But without further ado, let's roll the clip. So I am going to have to pause it over the course of the time because this is actually a song. So first thing you got to notice here is it looks like this is sort of the ruins of Faramore. So it looks like during Legion she maybe went back. A lot of these are different sort of seafarer swords, and that is actually the symbol of the symbol for Faramore and the symbol for Kul Tiras is very similar. It's almost identical to a T of exactly the same symbol. So it looks like that is a charm of not Kel'Thuzad, but of Kul Tiras. So we can see her new armor is popping up as well, so that's pretty nice as well. So as you can see there, that's definitely the symbol of Kul Tiras. This is also voiced by Laura Bailey, which is super good. She just has that voice. Love the animation. So she's giving sort of the Dockmaster or the ferryman this charm, and a lot of people have been questioning, is this really what happened? Is she actually seeing this guy? I think this is all symbolic. I think some of the events in here are actually real, but one of the things that a lot of people forget is, especially in seafarer stories and a lot of Greek mythology and a lot of things, ferrymen typically dealing with the past or death or regret or deep depression. It's sort of a journey that she's going to be going on. So I think this is more representative of a psychological level. I think some of the things in here though are actually true. So we'll get back to this point that she's giving away the symbol of Kul Tiras to this man here. So I love that introduction. I love the guitar. I love the seafarer stuff here. Got the wisps and spirits here. I thought at first this is sort of Drow magic or Drust magic, but I think it's a little bit deeper. So she's seeing the dead bodies of good old her city and everything. Interesting. So Faramore. So as you can see here, there's just a bunch of shipwreck. This could be from different stages. I believe that most of these ships probably came from the initial attack of the Horde on Faramore. So she's literally going through the past, looking at all these things, looking at the wreckage, looking at all the dead, and she feels remorse. It's very symbolic. She feels remorse because, you know, the person that she tried to work with for peace ended up biting her in the butt. She's one of the single-handed reasons that the Horde was able to survive. So she's looking at this past and she's feeling the regret and pain as she goes through this journey. Then the seafarer stuff, which amazing. I love that. And then as you can see, they got the spirit magic kind of going through here, and more spirit magic. So, as you can see. And then look, you got like the soul here, which I really like. So she's haunted by the spirits of those she basically assisted in killing, you know, her own people. It's, you can see the regret in her face. She like almost like she wants to cry emotion out of it. So I find that very interesting too. So it kind of gets a little deeper into the psyche, that this is not realistically what is happening, but it's more of a journey. She feels this. This is what she's feeling in her head as she goes by, made physical. So you got the spirits all kind of going out there. The Admiral followed well. So, or I think that's what they're saying. But basically, if you actually know the story of her father, Admiral Proudmoore, he actually went on a ship and did this whole massive journey to go to Faramore because he thought his daughter was in danger. And he hated the Horde so much. Because back then, the Horde wasn't really an inhabitant of Azeroth. It was actually these weird aliens from a distant planet that were wrecking havoc when they joined Gul'dan, and then eventually they parted away from Gul'dan and were trying to establish their own unique culture. But obviously the Alliance and all that is just like, these guys literally are raiding our land from a different thing and trying to make it theirs, and obviously people are just like, no, like, kill them, they're abominations, they did all this bad shit, why should we trust them? And she tried to go for peace. So this is her father's ship, Kultir symbol. Like I said, the Kultir symbol and Faramore symbol is very similar. The only thing that's different is kind of the notches and the points, but they're almost exactly the same symbol because she wanted to represent her sort of, you know, culture. And with Faramore, it was pretty much a city of Kultiris. It was just kind of on Kalmandor instead. So the shores are rough, and I think this is just, I think this is either realistic to what is going on, or it's her physical, like, feelings of roughness, depression, hopelessness, all kind of personified, which is super cool. And you can see it in her face. She feels pain, and she feels suffering for all the actions she did. So as you can see here, it shows Admiral, when you kind of go back a little bit, it shows the Admiral standing here, and he's seeing him fighting through these orcish horde, these monsters that invaded the planet, and these monsters that are doing cruel things to his people, and he's worried about his daughter, so he was fighting his way to get there. So when he faced the savage horde, his daughter stood aside, because that's what she did. She wanted peace, and her father was like, I just fought for all these horde, they're not good people, I don't care, I will stop these guys with an iron fist. And she stood by while, I believe it was Rexar that actually killed him. So you can see it, she's feeling regret. She sees the faces of all the people who died, all the faces of the people she betrayed and everything, for her peace. Betrayed by family. And you can see it in her face, like she feels remorse, she feels the pain, because she understands that she betrayed her father and her family. Beware the daughter of the sea. I love that line so much. And as you can see here, her eyes are like channeling. This is, you know, when she goes magey, she's channeling the arcane. So we're starting to see something happening here. So she's raising a ship. Now a lot of people are kind of complaining about this, but I'll get into that in a little bit. So you see the big badass ship. Now this is no ordinary ship. This is definitely one of significance, which I can get to in a hot second once I see the full picture. So this is the big ship. This is the capital ship. This is the one that belonged to her father, and it's her literally raising it up. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are complaining about, they're like, oh, does she just have water bending powers? Well, technically, if you go into the frost tree, you can make water elementals and conjure water and all these different things. So technically in the mage's kit, you can technically do this. So I think she's probably using frost to kind of pull up the ship, but she's basically bringing back this sunken ship from the ocean, which I think we'll get back into later, the symbolism of what that actually means. So you can see it, she's bringing back her past.
I'm listening now. Father.
I'm listening now, Father. So she understands her mistake. She understands remorse. She understands that she technically betrayed her people. She worked so desperately for this peace that would never happen, and due to that, she's saying, I understand. I understand, Father, that this peace would never arise. I tried, and I failed, and I got hurt in the long run. And I guess this is supposed to represent her, you know, dead father. And the symbol of Kultiris is around his neck. So it's representing that she's giving away her emotion. She's giving away, and she understands. She's in the stage of acceptance now. And then you have the beautiful ship with a good old harpy here. One of the things that people probably always talk about, they're like, well, isn't it supposed to be a mermaid? There's no mermaids technically in World of Warcraft, and you don't want to put a Naga on a ship because, you know, that represents bad sort of things for you know, the ocean. That represents bad things. That represents like creatures and all that. So it's a nice little touch that they put the harpy on there. You know, something that travels with the wind. Beware the daughter of the sea, which is her. And I love this part. Beware of me, which I love. So she's accepting that she's basically, this face is not one of remorse, it's not one of sadness. This is one of anger. This is one of push. This is one of like wanting to get actions done, which is my favorite type of Jaina. So I think this is the one that I really enjoy. This is the one that, you know, did the purging, did the purging of Dalaran, did the whole after Cataclysm was like, no, we're killing every single horde because you killed all of my people. And this is why I really like her in Battle for Azeroth, because she is a character that has tried to pursue peace for the horde and got burned by it. Really, not even burned, got bombed by it, and lost so many of her loved ones from it. And I think this is a really good character development for her. And that angered face just shows determinations. It shows that, you know, she had this remorse and everything, and she's listening to what her father's lessons were, and she's ready to push herself on to get herself to go against her true enemy, which is the horde. You know, demons and all that weren't her true enemy, but she was technically fighting them at the time. Her true enemy is now attacking her faction, and it's time for her to stand her ground, to return back home, to accept her fate, and to work with Kultiris to end the thing that has caused her all this pain all along. And one of the things that is interesting too is Rexxar actually got a updated character model. It's super duper high def, so I think there's going to be a more establishing story with Rexxar later on, and I think Jaina might actually kill him. He's been a character that's had a good amount of story over time, but I think his sort of story arc is over. And I think this is the time where Jaina is going to go back and she's going to make amends for, you know, the person who really killed her father, who betrayed her. And we have Thrall in this expansion as well, so maybe it'll be a lot of good story development there, because we'll have Thrall and, you know, Rexxar, who are buddies. Rexxar dying, Thrall having to try to change Jaina back to where she is, but she's so headstrong about hating Horde, and how Thrall was the one that sort of trained Garrosh to be the way that he is. I think that there's going to be a lot of really good story development there. So if they don't do a storyline like that, that's a really missed opportunity, but I think that's the storyline they're going to go with, especially with her being one of the head characters of this thing. So beware the daughter of the sea. I think that's just such a good phrase for her, and she's one of my favorite characters, and I know so much lore about her, but you know, she's lost, you know, her brother, she's lost her father and all this, and with this Horde incursion, and she's lost a lot of loved ones. She's lost a city. I mean, she's lost so much, to the point, and she's lost every single person that she's pretty much ever loved besides Kalik, which even then their relationship is rocky at best. And she's had many opportunities for where she could have ended the Horde. She could have ended the Horde while they were weak, when they were going to Kalmandor. In the one book, what was it? It was right before Warlords of Draenor, or well, it was right before, after the bombing of Fairmore. She got the sort of eye of sort of the eye that was with Malygos, and she was going to use that orb and make a giant army of just these water elementals and flood and kill all the people of Orgrimmar, because Orgrimmar is right next to an ocean. And she was going to use that to her full ability to flood the city, but luckily sort of Thrall and Kalik stopped her. However, this is a Jaina that she's done. She's done with the bullshit. She's done, and she's like, I should have done it then. I should have done it the second time. This is the third time. I will not let it pass. Like, this is my third chance to finally end the Horde, which, once again, very strong Alliance character that is like, no, I'm done. So it's going to be really interesting to see where her storyline goes on. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching with this review. I apologize for pausing all the moments, but you guys can check that video out on the internet as well. It's a beautiful thing. I really suggest you guys just listen to it like all the way, because it has a really beautiful tune. It's actually a very good song. It's one I can listen to over and over again, and it's probably one of the best shorts that Blizzard has ever made. But I wanted to actually talk about all the different little things that were in there, especially with my vast lore knowledge. There's probably a little bit more things I probably missed along the way, and of course I kind of forget all the names of like the different artifacts and things, but hey, I'm only human. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. I do have a variety of gaming content, and I'm going to be starting to do a little bit of vlogging stuff as well. But I hope you guys do enjoy. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay baller, my friends, and I'll see you guys next time.